Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the 19G assignment. Okay, first one, find the second derivative of all these functions here. All right, so f prime of x is going to be 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract 1 from that. That's 6x to the first, right? And this is a 1. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. Subtract the 1 there. The x's are gone. The derivative of constant is 0. So there's the first derivative. F double prime of x is going to be the derivative of this function. 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract the 1 and the x's are gone. Derivative of the constant is also 0. So there's our second derivative of this function. So just do the derivative and then take the derivative of the derivative. All right. This one here, f prime of x, is going to be 2 times 3 is 6. We've got x to the second. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. X to the first. And that's 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Subtract the 1, the x's are gone, and derivative of the constant is 0. So there's our first derivative. Now we've got to take the derivative of that. 2 times 6 is 12. X to the first. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. And that's x to the 0, so that's gone. And the derivative of the constant is 0. So there's our second derivative. All right, C. F double prime of x is going to be negative 2 times 2 is negative 4x to the negative third. Right? And then negative 1 times negative 3 is plus 3x. Subtract 1 from that is to the negative second. And then we got to take the derivative of that. So I said f double prime. That is only the first. That's only the first. That's just f prime. Right? So now we take the second derivative. F double prime x is negative 3 times negative 4 is 12x to the negative fourth. And then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6x to the minus 1 negative third. And there's our second derivative for that. Okay. Number 2, find d squared y over dx squared for these functions here. That just means the second. That's another way to say the second derivative. Okay. So let's find the second derivative of these. So we got y prime is going to be, that's 1 times x is 1. Subtract 1 and that's gone. And then 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 x to the second. That's the first derivative. Second derivative is going to be the derivative of that. Derivative constant is 0. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6x to the first. So there's our second derivative. Okay. B, 2 times 1 is, let's see, y prime, sorry, is 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract 1 from that, and that's x to the first, right? Negative 2 times negative 5 is plus 10x. And subtract 1 there to the negative third, right? That's the first derivative. So now the second derivative, 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract 1 there, and that's gone. Negative 3 times 10 is negative 30. X to the, subtract 1 is negative 4. Okay, that's our second derivative. Okay, and then C, we've got to write this as 4 over x minus x over x. Right, and then we've got to rewrite this. So that's 4x to the negative first, just moving that back up, and then x over x is just 1, right? So that's still just the original function, just simplified so that we can take the derivative, right? So now we got to take the derivative. So y prime is negative 1 times 4 is negative 4x. Subtract 1 from that, that's negative 2. Derivative of the constant is 0. So that's the first derivative. Now we got to take the second derivative. Okay, negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. X to the negative third. Okay, so there's the derivative for C as well. All right. One last one. Find the second derivative for these functions here. So for a, f of x equals, let's rewrite this so that x goes up to the top. Right? So let's just rewrite this as x to the negative first. Okay, and now that's gone. So now we can take the derivative. 2 times 3 is 6, x to the first, right? And then let's see, negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1, x to the negative second. And so that's the first derivative. So now we got to take the second derivative. F double prime of x equals 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract 1 from that, and the x's are gone. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. X to the negative third. There's our second derivative there. Okay. And then on this one here, really probably the easiest way for us, the way that we've been learning this here, is let's just multiply this out. We'll multiply x plus 4 times x plus 4, and then take the derivative of that. That'll probably be our easiest way for what we've been doing. Okay, so we have, let's see, this is BB. So f of x is going to be, so if we have x plus 4 times x plus 4, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times x is not 16, but 4x. X times 4 is 4x, and x times x is x squared. So that gives us x squared plus 8x plus 16, right? X squared plus 8x plus 16. So that is still just the original function. Now we've got to take the derivative and then take the derivative of the derivative, right? So f prime of x is going to be 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract 1, and that's x to the first, right? That's 8x to the first. 1 times 8 is 8. Subtract the 1 from that, and the x's are gone. Derivative of the constant is 0. Okay, and so there's our first derivative. So now we do the second derivative. F double prime of x is going to equal 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract 1 from that, and the x's are gone. Derivative of the constant is 0, and so there's our second derivative. Okay? Okay, that's all there is for this 19G assignment. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask in class. Thanks.